Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I would just be giving a brief overview and basically covering like all the relevant concepts related to Python. This is not a very planned video, this would be quite spontaneous, and I'll keep teaching as I go. So, the purpose of this video is to basically teach. If you're for example a beginner, or if you want to learn how we deal with Python, then this video is for you. This is my official Python documentation which I would be using as a reference throughout the tutorial, and let's get started. So firstly I'll just uh, what should I say, I'll create a new Python file and I'll be running all my programs in that file itself. So let's say learning Python, and I'll just change directory into that. Then I'll just say create a new file main.py, and then I am going to open my directory in my VS Code. Right. After that, I'll refer to the documentation later. Let's get started with the basics first. So I have my main.py. So how do you print? Like, okay, so there are three kinds of streams. One is the input stream, one is the output stream, and the third is the error stream. So by default, whenever you try to print your output in any programming language, then your terminal or your console acts as your output stream. So why am I telling you this? This is basically I wanted to show print hello world. So basically I am saying that okay, in the output stream just print my hello world, or basically just write hello world in the console or the terminal. Now this is my first Python program. How am I going to run this? I'm just going to open my terminal, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to write let it load, or I can use this as well. I can basically write Python and then main.py. So what this is going to do is that Python is and in Windows, for example, in Windows Python is a .exe file or an executable file which is stored. I'm not going to print my paths. So if we want to print our path environment variable, we would do something like this, right? And what would happen is that this Python command or .exe file would be present in this path environment variable. Now what is an environment variable? An environment variable is basically what should I say, like there are variables in our programming language. Similarly, there are some global variables in our entire computer, and those are known as environment variables. Those basically are variables which contain data about our computer's configuration. So $path basically whatever is in it states that okay, these are the folders in which you have to look for the executable file, which is our Python file, right? and in this as an argument I am giving main.py file, right? And what happens then is that, okay, another thing, there are two kinds of languages. One is the compiled or statically typed language, and the other is interpreted or dynamically typed language, right? So Python is an interpreted language or dynamic language. We don't have to give any type declarations such as int, float, etc., which we would be seeing further in the video. And we can like change the value of the variables as we go throughout the program. It doesn't depend on the type as such. Interpretation or interpreted language is basically the programming language goes line by line. In compilation, what happens is it scans the entire program, it converts it into a .exe file or any binary file, and then it is run. In interpretation, it's run line by line, right? Okay, another thing. There are three kinds of languages: procedural, functional, and object oriented. Python is all three. Python is procedural, Python is functional, and object oriented. What do they mean? Procedural means that you go step by step, that okay, this is the first step, this is the first line, this would be executed first, this is the second line, this would be executed second, and so on. That is procedural. Functional is writing programs in the form of functions, right? And object oriented is basically writing the programs in the form of classes and objects to basically have separation of concern and use many object oriented programming concepts like inheritance, polymorphism, etc., right? So these are the three kinds of languages. Now let's continue with the Python syntax. Let's say I want to input a variable age. So I'll say age input, enter your age, right? And then I'm going to just say print age. Okay, so when I run this, it's saying enter your age. I say 20, enter 20, right? What happened here is that I defined a variable age. In that, this is how we take input in Python, right? So the input keyword we use in Python to take input, and this is an argument to basically display what we are going to show to take as input. Okay, after that, when I provided 20 as my input, it got stored in this age variable, and then I just printed this age variable, right? Now for example, if I want to say can you vote, let's make a program, can you vote. So okay, another thing, what this is how we write a comment in Python, right? So what is a comment? A comment is basically a part of the program which is not read by the interpreter, right? So this can you vote program won't be read by the interpreter and it would be ignored. What is the use of writing comments? So basically what happens in the real world is that you don't work alone, you work in a team. And when you work in a team, sometimes what happens is that your code base can go up to lakhs of lines, thousands and lakhs, or hundreds of thousands of lines, right? So maintaining such a huge code base and understanding understanding the code which the other person has written can be kind of a difficult or cumbersome task. To avoid that or to mitigate that, what we do is that we use comments that okay, I can just say I have taken age as input using the input keyword and have stored it in the age variable, and then I have printed it. Now, for example, I'm Sarthak, right? So I have written this program, I know how this is running. Now let's say some user X or some developer X comes. X sees this, and imagine this is two lines of code. Okay, fine. Imagine this is 1,000 lines of code. Then how would they understand this? They won't be able to understand this. So I have just written the explanation of my code, and using this explanation they would be able to understand, okay, this is what is happening, right? If you, for example, this code is written, right? Now if I see I haven't written this code, I don't know what is happening over here, but someone has written some comments over here that okay, while technically covered by the last overload, spelling out types for none, okay, something is written over here and it is written regarding this code. Now see, this is like thousands of lines of code, right? And having these explanations to basically tell what is actually happening in the code would be really beneficial to a new developer who is not familiarized with the code base. So that is why comments are important, right? Yeah, so we were making a vote eligibility program. So I want to say that okay, if your age is 18 and above, you can vote. If it is not 18 and above, you cannot vote, right? Simple. Okay, let's try this. So if my age is greater than 18, print you can vote greater than equal to 18, and sorry, this bracket is not there. See, in different languages there are different syntax. So if we were using like Java or C++ or C or JavaScript, then we would be having those brackets or parentheses. But in case of Python, we can avoid using them. It's not mandatory, right? So you can vote. Else, I'll say print you cannot vote, right? So what is this? What is this? This is a new concept. So what if and else does is that okay, I'll just do one more thing, that I'll say else if age is double equal to 18, I'll print okay, else if is again in another language, elif. In Python we use elif. Age is double equal to 18, print yay, congratulations on turning 18, right? So what is this? These are basically known as conditionals. Conditionals is that conditionals are used when you have to make some kind of decision, right? So I want to make the decision that is this person 18 years old? If yes, then I'll just congratulate them that yeah, you are 18. If you are under 18, then I'll say that you cannot vote. you are not eligible to vote right now, please wait until you are 18. And if you are above 18, then I can say that okay, yeah, you are eligible to vote. Now what is happening over here? I am basically stating some conditions, or I am stating a criteria. This is my criteria on the basis of which I am making decisions that okay, this program is going to run if age is greater than 18. This portion is going to run if age is equal to 18, and so on, right? And in conditionals in Python, three keywords are used: if, elif, and else, right? And if is used like if this, then do this, right? Simple. This is simple English, not that complicated, right? Okay, another thing you might be wondering, okay, why can't we do this? This is also valid. Sure, we can do this. But what elif ensures is that if this condition has already been hit, and we know that if the above condition has been hit, then this condition does not have to be hit, then we can simply ignore it, and we can use elif to do that. If we directly use if, then this condition would also be getting checked, although this has already run. So that is the difference between if and elif. Let's run the program. Okay, another thing, I have done a mistake in this program. Please think what I have done. What is wrong in this program? The problem in this program is that whenever we take an input in Python, it always takes an input as a string. So for example, if I print the type of age and I run python main.py and I write 19, this is an error I'm getting because this is a string, and we can see that our age is of type string. But here, what can be greater than 18? A string. Okay, what is a string? A string is basically a sequence of characters. So basically, when you write a sentence in English, that is basically a string in very simple terms. Okay. Now we have our class string. This is a string, this age variable, and string cannot be compared with 18. How can you say that okay, Sarthak is greater than 18? I cannot compare that, right? I can say okay, 20 is greater than 18. That is true, so I can print this, right? That is completely valid. But if I say Sarthak is greater than 18, that does not make any sense. So what I am going to do here is I am going to do something known as typecasting. So I am going to say that whatever I get as output in my whatever I get as an input, I just convert it into an integer and then I store it in age. So now it should work. 19. So I converted this into an integer and I can vote at 19, right? So this is what conditionals are. If I would have written, for example, if I wrote 18, so yay, congratulations, you turned 18. I am printing age over here, so it is getting printed over here. Okay, this is done. What if I want to bundle this piece of code? I can bundle this piece of code. Now, what do I mean by bundling? Suppose I want to use this piece of code repeatedly, or I want to let other people use this piece of code. I don't want other people to expect that, okay, what is this age variable? What is this input? How is this code written? I don't want people to know that. I just want that people just give me a number or the age, and I just print out the output accordingly, right? How am I going to do that? For that, we do something as functions, right? We make functions. So function is basically a piece of code, which bundled piece of code which you can use as it is, right? So now I am going to teach you functions, and we are going to use this itself, right? So let's create a function. To create a function, we use the def keyword, and in this I am going to write what should be its name? Vote printer. That it's printing according to my vote. And what am I going to take in this? I am going to take this variable vote, and I am just going to either I'll take this variable age. I am going to remove this. Okay, I remove this. So basically what happens is, when you control L in this VS Code, then the line is selected, but due to some extension etc., it's opening that extension instead of like selecting that particular line. So I just put this code in my function. Okay, and if you do control plus this square bracket, then you can create an indentation, right? So control square bracket indentation, right? Now I want that, I don't want this. Okay, to comment something you can write control plus forward slash. So control plus forward slash, so it automatically commented this for me, right? Now in this I can just remove this thing. I am saying in this vote printer function I give an age. If my age I am taking as input, if it is greater than 18, print vote, and this you know the drill, right? And I am just going to okay, I am taking age as an input right now. I don't need this parameter, I'll just remove it. And now okay, this is known as invoking the function or calling the function. So what this is going to do, this is going to do nothing. Your Python interpreter is going to go on line 1, nothing. Line 2, nothing. Line 3, okay, this function is defined. Okay, I'll just read through this function. Okay, good. Okay, now I see, okay, there is a function which is being invoked. Whenever we call or invoke this function, we use this bracket. This is invoking or calling a function which we are doing, right? So when I don't do this and run python.main.py, nothing is going to happen. Nothing happened, because this is a piece of code which is I have defined. This is just defined. I am not calling it, I am not invoking it, I am not saying that okay run, I am not saying any of that. I am saying that okay, this is the definition, I am just defining it, it is in the file, that's it. Now when I do this, I said that okay, now invoke this function, I want to use this function, I want to use this bundle of code. So now when I do python main.py, what happens is that it parses through this, it comes on this. After my interpreter came to vote printer, it went in this function and it is currently on this line. It printed enter your age, and I for example put 33. Okay, now as 33 is greater than 18, what do you think is going to happen? It is going to give this condition. If I for okay, nothing, never mind. It is going to print this condition. Let's see what happens. You can vote. It printed this condition, right? So this is conditionals, right? So this was condition, this was function. Now another thing I can do is, for example, if I say I am not defining age over here, I am taking age as a parameter, right? Now what is going to happen if I run this program now? There is an error in this program. I want you to guess what it is. What is the error over here? Tell me. Missing one required positional argument, age. So what my function over here is doing is that it's expecting the age variable. But in this, when I'm invoking this, I am not giving anything. So this function was expecting age as a variable, but it is getting nothing. And that's why this, my Python interpreter is giving an error. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give, for example, 33 as an input in this, right? Now tell me what is going to happen. This is obviously going to print you can vote. Why? It's because I am providing 33 as an argument. This is known as an okay. There are two things in Python in a function: an argument and a parameter. What is the difference between an argument and a parameter? Like, this is something people get confused about. I was confused about it like in the very beginning when I started coding in like 2019. So when I just started learning coding, I used to get confused that okay, what is the difference between an argument and a parameter? And my teacher eventually cleared my doubt. She was a very great teacher. So anyways, what is the difference between an argument and a parameter? This is a parameter. Parameter is something that you have defined in the function. This is a variable which you have defined in the parenthesis of the function, right? And an argument is basically a value which you are providing in the function. So this is my argument, this is my parameter, this is a value which I am providing in the function, this is a variable which I am using in the definition of my function. Another thing, in a function, this is known as the signature of the function. A signature meaning that what is the name of the function, what are the data types of the parameters used in that function. It is not the parameter type is not applicable in Python because it is dynamically typed, but in other static languages such as C++ and Java, that is part of the function signature, and the third is the actual parameter variable itself, right? So this part is known as a signature. Okay, we haven't even referred to the documentation yet. Okay, anyways, so what do you think the output is going to be over here? If I run python.main.py, you can vote. So if I say, for example, 16, so it should say you cannot vote. Let's run this. You cannot hold. Simple, not that difficult. Okay, now you might have a doubt that okay, Sarthak, you defined this function. This is an amazing function. Fine. What if some external user is using my function and he doesn't want to provide a value? He wants that the function automatically assumes a value itself, or the function has a default value by itself. How how are we going to define that default value? Very simple in Python. It's very simple. You just write equal to 18 or equal to any number you want. So by default, if I don't provide anything in this, it is going to take 18 as my value of the age. And for example, if I provide a value 33, then this is going to take 33 as the value of age. Let's try this for a better understanding. First tell me, you think what is going to happen in this? So in this, as we are passing 33, then obviously, forget this for a moment. Vote pointer gives, what is the purpose of vote pointer? That if my age is greater than 18, just print you can vote. So on 33, what should I expect? You can vote. Let's see. Sorry. You can vote. Simple. What if I don't provide anything? Last time I was getting an error, right? That you haven't provided the value of the age parameter. You haven't provided the argument. That's why I was getting an error. Now what? Now it is going to take the value of age as 18 by default, which I have defined over here. So, yay, congratulations on turning 18. I didn't provide any argument over here. I didn't provide any value over here. Right. So it just took this age as 18 and it printed it over here. Okay. Now there are many more things which are related to functions. I'll just quickly, okay, I'll teach one more concept, then that is it. For functions for now. I'll teach functions more in the next video. So for example, if I define my argument name, right, and I say I make an F string and I say you can vote name, and congratulations name on turning 18, right? So for example, if I write 18 and Sarthak, what's going to, okay, so you see I can take multiple parameters over here. One is not like required, we can take multiple or none as you desire. What do you think would be ideal output? Okay, I'll teach you another concept. There is a concept of dry run. There are two concepts in fact. One is the dry principle, the other is dry run. The name is similar but these concepts are different. I'll listen to this carefully, this is very important. What is dry? The dry concept. Dry concept is basically the acronym of don't repeat yourself. So what don't repeat yourself means is that when we are coding, right, many a times what would happen is that a certain part of your code can repeat. So for example, if you wanted to perform a function X and performing that function x requires 97 lines of code. Now to perform that task x repeatedly in different places in the entire code base, it's not very feasible to remember those 97 lines of code, their logic, and to place them everywhere. And basically our code base would be having repetitive code, that okay, this code is in this file, then in that file. So to avoid that, we use the try principle, that don't repeat yourself. Try to minimize the code which you are writing in the code base for efficiency, maintainability and extensibility, right? And so that is basically the try principle. And to make that try principle a possibility, we use functions and the concept of modules, which I would be teaching in the later video. Function is this only. Okay, for example, what do I mean by file? For example, if I say new file sarthak.py and I say from main import, what's the name of the function? Vote pointer. If you double click on your keyword, then it automatically selects this. You don't have to select it like this. You can just double click, right? And I'll say vote printer, right? Now if I just call vote printer over here, vote printer, and I'm taking my 33, name is Rahul, right? And I'm not running main.py, I'm running sarthak.py. Okay, what's happened? Attempted relative import. Okay, if I, for example, define init underscore py, now would it work? Okay, this is not working. Why is this not working? If I, for example, this, if I remove this, is this okay? So basically what happens in code bases is that sometimes you use this dot basically means the current directory, right? If I, for example, ls dot, this is showing me the files in the current directory. Dot means the current directory, right? So in some places in Python you import like this, in other you import like this. This depends on the circumstance. So in this, what I am saying is, from the main package or file, import this vote printer function and print this over here. Now another thing is that, for example, in Python there are predefined functions, predefined modules. What is a module? A module is basically a collection of packages, or a module is a bundle of like packages. That is how I can explain it. So import I'll say, okay, there are two ways to import something. One is import math, then print math.ceil, math.max, I think 2 and 3, and let's Python sarthak.py. Okay, this is not module math has, okay. Okay, for example, I am not able to remember the function which is in math, so I can just do print dir. Dir means directory math. So basically what I'm saying is that I want all the functions and attributes related to the math object or class, whatever it is. So let's print. Okay, these are all my uh, functions etc. related to math. So okay, I want to find the log 10 of something. So I say math dot log 10 and I say 1000. Now the log 10 log of 1000 base 10 is answer is 3, right? The answer should be 3 and I should print this. Okay, I'll okay, I can teach you another concept. Logger, logging, and logging dot logger. Okay, for this I might require the documentation. So let's see, I want to teach logging. Import logging. Okay, this is basically using the default logger. I want to kind of make a custom logger. It's not in the tutorial section. Logger, logging logger. Okay, it was get logger or logger. I have to see. Okay, so what we are doing here is that firstly we imported the logging module, and after that I am defining my logger, and in this logger I am saying that make a new logger. This is a special keyword in Python, and these special keywords, there are many of these are like the start and end with double underscore, and there are many methods. This basically refers to the file name, right? You would also study something like if underscore name is double equal to main. We'll come to this later as well. For now let's skip this. So I am basically from the logging module calling the get logger method and creating a logger object, right? Now I'm okay, let's do this as well. Int main, and I'll do this in main.py itself. Control X, Control V. So okay, by the way, the answer is going to be 3 over here. So I can, okay, another thing is concatenation. String plus anything is basically concatenation, that a single string would be formed, and this is the answer for, let's copy this, and this. In the early part of the video I told you something like this as well, right? So this is I think called pretty printing, or we are basically using a formatted string. In C we use it, in Java we use it like this and this and this. Okay, I have to teach you the concept of \n \t, and there is something known as \r. I haven't used this much in my experience. I have studied it, but I haven't used it much. The main things I have used are things professionally I have used are these two. Mostly these two I have used. Anyways, the answer is going to be 3 over here. I get the logger object. After that I say I am going to define my main method. Okay, I have to teach you this concept. So basically what happens in other languages is that there is always a main method in those languages. So in C++, for example, you write something like int main, or in Java you write public static void main, right? String args. So what is common in all these is that there is a main function or method defined in these programming languages. Now why is this main method or function special? This main method or function is special because like for example in Python it's very simple. I'm just basically, this is a script, it's just reading line by line. Okay, this, very simple. But in compiled languages or in Java, C++, etc., you need a starting point, because Java, for example, follows the object-oriented paradigm, which has classes and methods, and it needs a place to start. And that particular place to start, or the keyword we use to start, is the main method. Everything starts using the main method, right? In Python it is not necessary, so we might not realize the impact of the main method. But in other languages it is a very important function, because without that function or method, the program wouldn't run itself, right? So the main method is very important. In Python, if you have to write the main method, what we do is we define the main function, and in this main function I am going to write my code. So this is basically me showing you how to use the math module, how we import things. Okay, I have to teach you this also. Hash from maths import locked in. I have to teach you this form of importing as well, but let's come back to this. I defined my logger object. Now I said that the basic config, okay, cool. I'm saying my config is, I'm basically providing a file, test.txt, level equal to logging.info. You see, whenever this is in all caps, right, it basically refers to a constant. So this info is basically referring to a constant. These are constants, these values are fixed, right? These are values which do not change, right? So these are always represented by capital letters. Now logger.info and I say hi Sarthak, and in this I also say if the name of my current package is main, then I want to call the function main. Let's run this program. Python main.py. Okay, what's the issue here? Can only concatenate string to string. I wasn't expecting this. If I, for example, do this, then what is this? Okay, yeah, cool. So basically this was not a string, so it was giving an error, but I wasn't expecting that. mat.log10 log10. Okay, never mind. Right, so I printed this and my test.txt was made, and using my main package on the info level I printed this. So basically this is how you create logs in Python, right? Now okay, what is this? This is, I can just print this as well. Print underscore name. We can also concatenate using comma in print, right? Underscore name. So the name over here is main. Main is the package or file which we are currently running, right? So that is basically what underscore name stores, right? Okay, if for example I want something, I don't want to print this, I don't want to write math all the time, right? I only want to call log10, then I'll just simply import it like this. I'll remove this math and I'll get the same answer, 3, right? So these are the two kinds of ways in which you can import something, right? Now what should I teach you? Loops are remaining, iteration, iterators, loops, those are remaining. What else can I teach you? Argument passing, booleans, arguments are not sys.argv. I understand this. Okay, I want to look at the sys module. Sys Python module, and argv. So list of command line arguments is passed in this, is dependent on this. Okay, let's import the sys module, right? Sys means system, and I want to print, for example, argv0. sys.argv0, and in this I say python main.py2. Okay, 1 2. Okay, wait, I can print this array itself, I think. Yeah. Okay, what am I doing over here and what is this? See, whenever we were taking an input, right, we were using this keyword. Now the input keyword is basically used after we start running our program, right? But while running our program, I want to give something. Let's for example make from sys import argv, and I say that hi argv. This is known as a list in okay. So in programming languages what happens is that 1 2 this is known as a list. If I print the type of this, so if you see, this is a class list. Now what is a list? This is a list, and in Python this doesn't need to be of the same data type. We can do something like this as well. This is still a class list, this is still valid. If I want to iterate over a list, I can say for element in list or L, print element plus I want a new line. A new line is denoted by backslash n. Yeah. So now if I print python main.py, what do you think the output would be? The output is going to be 1, then 2, then Sarthak, then 4 and 5. And that would be vertically, not horizontally, vertically. See. Okay, what's the error over here? Int plus string. Okay. What if I do it like this? Yeah. So 1, 2, Sarthak, 4 and 5 using this backslash n, right? Okay, and this print method also has some parameters. If we can see that over here as well, and another is separator. Sep. If we go to the documentation as well, we would see that pprint, pretty printer. I have used it, but not going to cover it right now. This is class, constructor, etc. I am not looking for this. I am looking for the print function. Iterables, not looking for this. Print, yeah. So see, objects is what we want to print. Separator is what we are separating those objects by, right? So for example, if I say that element separator star, then let's see what's the output. Nothing. What if I say end is star? So first, by default, how did this come to my mind? I saw the backslash n, then I remembered that okay, print by default goes to the next line, and if we have to change that, then we can use the end parameter. The separator parameter also has its own use case. It's been like 5 years since I've used this sep keyword, so I'll see what this is. Okay, if I say star, I remove end and I say 5. Now what's the output? Okay, what sep does or separator does is that we have multiple elements in our print, right? So what this does is that element, then by default the separator is a space, which we are not taking right now, we are taking a star. So it would print this star, then this star, then this star, and this, right, and so on. So that is what separator does. Now in this argv I was basically explaining that argv is basically an array or a list, right? And the first index of the list contains the name of the file, and the other contains all the values which we are getting over here. So for example, I want to get the sum of all the numbers I provide in this. So what I am going to do is I am going to say for I sum is equal to 0, for I in range 1 to 1 to length of argv, right? Sum plus equal to argv I. Then I want to print sum, and if I want to verify, then I can say let's say I am taking the sum of natural numbers, right? The final, no, let's forget this. So what do you think the output is going to be for this? Okay, another thing, I would have to convert this, typecast this to int, because it is currently taking it as a character, right? What is the output of this? 4 plus 3 7, 7 plus 2 9, plus 1 10. So this is the output. So this is how we take arguments from the shell, right? So there are more things which I want to teach. I can teach it as well, but I think the video must have gone about 45 minutes at least, I think. So I think we can stop it over here and I'll continue it in the next uh, video, all the teachings, right? So thank you for watching the video. I hope you got to learn something new, and please, if you liked my work, then please reach out if you want to work with me, and also please do subscribe to my channel and like my video. It's going to help me a lot. And you can also follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Hashnode, my GitHub account, etc. I would really appreciate it. You could basically search my name on Google, Sarthak Maini, LinkedIn, and so on, or you can directly go to sarthakmaini.com to basically get in contact with me, know more about me and my work, right? So again, thank you for watching my